Have a look at my review of Teen Wolf, directed by Rod Daniel from 1985. So yes, we are back once again ready to discuss another film on the channel, this time around Teen Wolf. Now this is a film that I was kind of quite interested in seeing for quite a few years, and yeah, obviously starring Michael J. Fox, and the same year of Back to the Future, so I was really hyped to see this, and yeah, watched it a few weeks ago, and I've gathered my thoughts, and I would like to talk about this film today on the channel. There will be a spoiler warning, of course, for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about this from the comments, and yeah, celebrate cinema. As yes, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and yeah, this is quite a fascinating film, and really a bizarre film, I must say, and one that I think, started out, really interesting, and, I think the first half an hour of the film, is the part that I enjoyed the most of this, and, I really did enjoy this, and, I found it to be charming, funny, and, just the whole kind of mystery and the build-up to the first kind of, true transformation, of this, and, I thought it was really, really cool the way it was done, and, Michael J. Fox in this, was great from start to finish, and, yeah, I think we have this, kind of high school student, who's on the basketball team as well, and he basically discovers, soon into the film, that he is a werewolf, and his whole kind of family, one kind of line of the family, are kind of werewolves as well, so the dad, the father as well, is a werewolf, but he hasn't been, kind of, revealing this to, of course, Scott, who Michael J. Fox plays, and, then when he kind of turns into a werewolf, the dad kind of reveals this, and, he says, this is the same for me, and, I just didn't, tell you kind of thing. But yeah, consistently, this was my favourite part of the film, and just seeing the way that Scott, kind of interacts with his friends, and also, at home, with the dad especially, and, I just really enjoyed the other performances in the film as well. You have Susan Ursitti, of course, as Booth, who's kind of this character who, Scott has known, throughout his life, and it's kind of this romance that is kind of pretty obvious in the film, and we also have Jerry Levine, playing Styles, and he's one of the closest friends, of course, of Scott, and I really enjoyed these performances in the film, and I just really enjoyed the interactions, the kind of the friendships that you kind of see in the film, and just as well, of course, Scott being on the basketball team, kind of enjoyed parts of this at first as well. We have the kind of the coach as well, for the team, who is just a really bizarre character, and I just thought, what was going on there, really, just the way he acted towards a lot of the characters in the film, and especially Scott, just the kind of way in which Scott, comes to him, for different things, to talk to him, and, this kind of basketball coach, and, it's just really strange kind of responses back to Scott, and just, in general, that character, for me, throughout the entire film, was just really quite bizarre, and it was just, really a bit off, and I think just some of the moments, in the basketball sequences, quite strange as well. But I generally enjoyed, some of these parts as well at first, and I thought just, it was a nice balance, as I say, between the high school life, the home life, and just everything involving the basketball team. I think after this first act, the film for me personally just went downhill, and it never was quite that investment, of that first 25-30 minutes for me. Of course, we have once Scott turns into a werewolf for the first time, which is a really cool sequence in itself, I think, and obviously when he's reacting to the dad, of course, this was probably one of my favourite moments, in the film, because you get the reveal as well at that point, and just the back and forth between them. But I think just, the way in which afterwards we have Michael J. Fox, his character Scott, is kind of just walking around, in daylight, and he's going to school, and everyone knows that he's a werewolf, and I think I didn't really fully know that before going into this. I didn't really know anything about the film, and I thought it was just a really strange thing for me in the way it was done, and I thought just the way he's going to school and everyone kind of knows he's a werewolf, and he's playing basketball as a werewolf, and he's really good at this, all of a sudden because of these powers and everything, and I think just the way in which as well he's kind of a celebrity werewolf, and everyone just kind of crowds around him, and he's basically like this cool celeb going around, and of course Styles as well, his friend, kind of takes advantage of this. Now it does have for some funny moments, and I did obviously still enjoy the film at this point because it was just really bizarre, and I thought it was just campy at times, but for me it just became a bit too silly even then, and I think just the way in which Styles kind of at one point kind of brings out the Wolfmobile, and they kind of they get in, and sort of surfs up kind of thing, and then Styles plays the Beach Boys, Surfing USA, and then kind of Michael J. Fox's character of Scott, kind of just gets onto the roof of the van, and then it's just kind of when they're driving along and they're playing this music, the Beach Boys, he does backflips, all while being a werewolf, while the Beach Boys is playing, and I thought this was just in a sense, one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in a film, actually. And I did enjoy it, this sequence, but it's just such a strange film, and I just didn't think it would be like this. It's really full-on comedy at times, and I think just in the way it was done, I just think it didn't quite, live up to the potential really for me, and it never quite had my investment like it did in the first half an hour of the film, and I think once he fully changed, and it's kind of obviously flipping back and forth at times, kind of when he wants to, kind of thing. Scott, and stuff with the ball as well, the dancing at the end of the film, the final acts, and kind of going back and forth. And at one point, he stops, kind of enjoying this whole kind of celebrity lifestyle as a werewolf, and kind of, it's quite interesting the way it's done at times, yeah, for sure. And the writing in places is definitely quite effective, and I thought it was cool what they were going for there, but I think just overall, it just doesn't quite live up to its promise, and I think it is just too silly for me, and I think when there's a whole final sequence as well at the end with the basketball, that was just not as investing either for me. And just the final shots there and the way the film comes to a close, I just thought there was something missing here, and it didn't quite come together in the way I would have liked. And it's strange because I did enjoy the characters, quite a bit, these side characters, and the dad as well, of course. And I think James Hampton in the film, was really, really good here, and I just really enjoyed his presence a lot, and it was definitely my favourite side character in the film, and just really the scenes when him and Michael J. Fox are together, father and son dynamic. I thought this was probably overall my favourite, kind of, one single part, of the film in terms of characters and arcs. And, I just thought the way it ended, though, despite, me enjoying, as well, of course, Styles in the film and Booth, and these performances, quite a bit, I just thought, it just didn't, there was something lacking in the way it came together, and just kind of was a bit of a throwaway kind of ending for me, and the way it, kind of culminated. And obviously it's all about the basketball game in the end, and them winning this, but it's just something that I wasn't, after a time, in the film, wasn't that invested in this, and I think it just kind of fell off for me, some of the arcs, in that, and just my investment with this kind of whole basketball scene, and it's just I didn't really, was never really big on that, and I think when I was at least somewhat more invested in it first, I think it did kind of peter out in that sense. So overall, it's definitely a film that I enjoyed, and I think there are campy moments, throughout the film. Just really nice locations in this film, and a really warm and summery look to this, and really nostalgic. And it was as well, the house being on the same block as the one in Back to the Future, so that's really cool. Two, Michael J. Fox films, and they're kind of the same year, of course, and kind of located on the same block, these two houses, and that was just really cool to kind of, because it did look very, very similar, and I did kind of find that out afterwards, and that's really cool to know, and it has that really just warm look to it, and really idyllic kind of locations, so that adds a lot to the film as well, just a nice kind of pleasant feel to this, really relaxing at times. So I definitely enjoyed this film, and I just think it could have been better than what it turned out, I think, and it just kind of went off, and the tone of the film was definitely one of the things that was just all over the place at times for me, and just really some of the ideas are quite kind of something, but I think just the way it was kind of put together, the editing as well, there's something about the film and the way it flows, and it goes from scene to scene, and kind of how things are unfolding with the characters and locations, and going between different areas after a point, after that first act, where it just kind of, it felt a bit off as well, the flow of the film, and it did feel quite drawn out at times, just some of the kind of basketball sequences, as we went on in the film, and some of the other parts of the film as well. And so definitely, kind of mixed bag with some aspects of the film, and the whole kind of the werewolf transformation, obviously some really quite amazing makeup and practical effects in this, and really wacky moments as well. But I just think it didn't quite live up to the potential really, this film for me overall, and I was really invested at first, and definitely more so, but it did kind of go off, and it's never quite for me as investing as that first act of the film. So overall my rating for this film is a 69%. So definitely a solid score from me, and a solid film, one that I did enjoy quite a bit at times, but it's just a film that I found it to be just not living up to its potential, as I say, and it's one that just is a bit too silly in places, and the whole kind of way in which he is a werewolf, and he was at school kind of in between different kind of locations, and he becomes this celebrity werewolf, and kind of they're trying to take advantage of that, him and his friend Styles in particular, and just kind of going around, public, and as this werewolf. Just the way it unfolded for me was just a bit too silly, and yeah, personally, I just was never that huge on the film throughout, and I think it was just mainly that first act, before all this, and how we have more subtle hints at him becoming a werewolf and having these powers and these kind of feelings as well, and just the way it was done at his home, and as well at school at first. That was definitely my favourite parts consistently of the film. But overall, I definitely enjoyed this one. There was definitely kind of moments to enjoy and appreciate after that, and I enjoyed quite a few of the characters in this, and throughout, and I did really enjoy the kind of just nostalgic, kind of warm, kind of high school life, and also just parts of the basketball experience, in this. But yeah, it was just the one that overall it comes down to being more of a kind of average good film, as opposed to being what it could have been very good or higher for me. If it just kind of remained more consistent, and if it took these ideas and kind of utilise them in a different way, just for my liking, of course, all personal preference. It just wasn't a one in the end that came together, for me, in the way that I thought it just would have, really, and considering how it started out. But yeah, I did enjoy this one, and as I say, it was a really wacky kind of zany film that was definitely warm and quite funny in places, and yeah, it was just a bizarre experience, but one that I definitely enjoyed, and I would definitely, kind of recommend this film. And yeah, I like this film. I just didn't personally love the film overall. And so yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? I really want to comment your thoughts on this, your experience with this film, and yeah, let's share our opinions on this down below in the comments today, and celebrate cinema. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.